Hey, my people. Today we're talking about someone whose name might not be trending on social media, but whose story says a lot about leadership, service, and what it means to put people above politics. Former Illinois Governor Jim Edgar has passed away at the age of 79, and his journey through life, politics, and even his later years is worth revisiting. As we go through this, I want you to think about something. What does good leadership actually look like to you? Is it about making tough decisions, keeping promises, or maybe just treating people with respect? So, let's rewind. Jim Edgar was born in 1946 in Veneta, Oklahoma, but he grew up in Charleston, Illinois. His father died in a car accident when Jim was just a child, so he was raised by his mother. It's interesting, isn't it, how early challenges like that can shape someone's values later on. Edgar grew up with this strong sense of resilience and duty. He went to Eastern Illinois University, and not long after, he set his sights on public service. By the 1970s, Edgar was already climbing in state politics. He served in the Illinois House, then in 1981 he was appointed Secretary of State. And this wasn't just a title, he actually made real changes. For example, he pushed for tougher laws on drunk driving and made auto insurance mandatory, which at the time was a big deal. Think about that for a second. How many politicians can you name today who actually push through policies that still affect everyday people decades later? Fast forward to 1991, Edgar becomes Illinois' 38th governor. Now, here's the scene. The state is facing a massive budget deficit, schools are underfunded, and the economy is in a slump. Not exactly a dream job, right? But instead of kicking the can down the road, Edgar rolled up his sleeves. He cut spending where he had to, but he also made a bold choice. He made a temporary income tax surcharge permanent so schools and local governments wouldn't collapse financially. And here's something to think about. Would you rather have a leader who makes easy, popular choices, or one who risks backlash to secure stability for the future? When Edgar ran for re-election in 1994, voters gave him a massive win. He carried almost every county in Illinois. Clearly, people trusted his approach. During his second term, he doubled down on education. He increased funding for schools, oversaw reforms in Chicago public schools, and made early childhood education a bigger priority. If you're from Illinois, your school experience might have been shaped by policies Edgar put into place without you even knowing it. Now, Edgar wasn't just about numbers and budgets. He was also about relationships. He worked with Democrats when he had to, including some pretty tough political rivals. In today's climate, where compromise feels almost impossible, it makes me wonder, do you think we've lost something by moving away from that kind of bipartisan spirit? Could a governor like Edgar even win today's primaries, where extremes often get the spotlight? During his time in office, he also handled crises like the Great Flood of 1993, showing steady leadership when people needed it most. And when his second term was up, despite calls for him to run again, he stepped aside in 1999. That in itself is kind of rare, isn't it? A politician who knew when to leave instead of clinging to power. After leaving office, Edgar stayed active in public life. He taught, mentored, and became a respected voice on governance. One honor that stood out was when the Illinois State Library named its reading room after him, the Jim Edgar Reading Room, highlighting his lifelong support for literacy and libraries. That's a legacy that goes beyond politics. But Edgar also wasn't shy about speaking his mind later in life. He distanced himself from the far-right shift of his party, refused to endorse Donald Trump, and even supported Republicans for Harris in the 2024 presidential election. Whether you agree with him politically or not, it's interesting to see a politician who stayed true to his own values, even if it meant going against his party. Do you think more leaders should do that, or is sticking with your party more important? Earlier this year, Edgar announced he was battling pancreatic cancer. Sadly, on September 14, 2025, he passed away in Springfield due to complications from treatment. He leaves behind his wife Brenda, their 2 children, and a legacy of stability, moderation, and service. So when we look back at Jim Edgar's life, we see someone who didn't chase headlines but built trust by doing the hard, sometimes unpopular work. And in a time when politics often feels like a shouting match, his story makes us ask, what do we really want from our leaders? Flashy slogans or quiet competence? If you made it this far, thanks for watching. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What do you think makes a great leader? And could someone like Jim Edgar find the same success today? Let's talk about it down below. And hey, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more stories that go beyond the headlines, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow, and it keeps these conversations going. Until next time, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.